I will get to the beach. I'm coming to the beach. Like, I want you to go. It's good for the kids. It's good for you. We all need it. And I will get there. I believe they all left on a Saturday, and I was hoping to be released on a Sunday, but I still wasn't quite good enough. So on Monday I did, and my best friend showed up from here in Berwick to the hospital in Allentown, and she helped me to get to Cape May. So yeah, it was like she was busting me out of jail is like how it felt. It was so exciting, but I could hardly walk.
Here's how you know that you have a true friend. There's a simple way to know if you've got a true friend in your corner. Isabella Lundy said it best, true friendship withstands time, distance, and silence. If you got these three things, you got to ride or die. Number one, a true friend is a friend for life. You both grow, evolve, hit different stages, but you still rock with each other through it all. It's not about always being on the same wave. It's about respecting each other's journey. Number two, you don't got to be in the same place. Real friends, they support you even from a distance. Maybe you move away, maybe they start chasing different dreams, and that's all good. You want them to win just as much as you want to win yourself. And number three, probably the most important one, you don't need to be talking every day. Sometimes you'll go weeks, months without chopping it up, but when you do, it's like you never missed a beat. That's how you know it's real. If you got people like that in your life, hold on to them. That's rare.
She had to help me walk to the car. Bless her heart, she has a car that's up a little bit higher, like a 4Runner. And she had this little stool for me to step up on and get into the car. And then we had to make all these stops because I had lost so much weight.
Right.
And I have a tumor on the base of my spine, like near my coccyx bone, and I have one on my hip. So losing that much weight, I always had so much padding to sit on. I didn't have the padding to sit on anymore. I didn't have my butt anymore. So, she had a pillow for me to sit on in the car. And then we would stop periodically, and I'd get to giggling so hard because we'd pull off these different spots. And one was a restaurant parking lot. And you feel like it was in the middle of like this intersection, two major roads, like one coming one direction, one the other. And then this restaurant sat right in the middle, and we're in New Jersey. And we're getting out of the car, and she stops the car. She gets out, she runs around, she gets the stool out, she opens the door, and she's helping me down. And I'm laughing now so hard I can hardly like talk. And I have lesions in my lungs and also in my liver. So I have cancer in my liver and my lungs both. Well, the ones in my lungs are so bad that even to have a conversation with you like this right now would have been hard for me at that point. I would keep gasping for air when I would talk. So now I'm giggling so hard I can't catch my breath, and I'm laughing so hard I'm like laughing and crying at the same time. And she's like, what is so funny? And all I can think of is Coming to America. Every time the king is getting out of the car and they bring the stool around and everything. I said,
the rose petals.
I feel like royalty. Where's the rose petals? Where's this? Where's that? I felt like a diva.
Yeah.
So, it was an awesome ride to the beach. There was laughing, there was crying, here I am with my best friend. I'm going to see my family. I'm going to the beach. And then I realized that my clothes didn't fit. What I showed up to the hospital in didn't fit me.
Okay.
They were like hanging on me. And I remember saying to my best friends, I don't want to show up there and scare the kids. Like, I look like a skeleton. Like, my face was a little bit sunken in. I said, I know it's not going to change how my face looks or my arms look or my legs look, but at least maybe if my clothes fit, I looked like I was a little kid and I was in my mom's clothes.
Okay.
So she's like, we can stop anywhere you want. So we stop at like a clothing store on the way down, and we go in. She's like, what are you thinking? And I'm like, I think like a long, just like sundress or something would work best because it's going to hide more. And I can hardly walk. So here I am hunched over, and she's helping me walk, and we're walking around, and everyone is like turning and looking at me and staring, and I'm catching people, and then you turn and look at them and smile, and catch themselves staring. So I said to Danielle, I said, everybody's like staring, like they're looking at me like you found me somewhere on the street and you're taking me in here to help me with my clothes. And so we're giggling about that. And we finally find, yay for best friends, we find something.
Yeah, it's
and then
Daniel Burkus, right?
It's Danielle. Yeah, Danielle.
Daniel Burkus, yeah.
And I get into the dressing room, like she helps me carry in what I'm going to try on. I get into the dressing room and I realize I can't even change like my own clothes. Like I have no, like, Danielle, like I need help. So she comes in the dressing room, she helps me, amazing friend. And I find one that fits me. And I'm like, what am I going to do now? It's not like I can go buy this dress, walk out in the clothes I came in and change in your car. Like I can hardly move or walk.
Okay, yeah.
She's like, I've got this. She's like, you keep it on. She takes the tag off of it. She goes up front and she pays for it. And we walk out of the store. And
I thought you were going to say she took the tag off and you guys walked out.
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, jeez.
She went up and paid.
You don't want to say that here.
No. She took the tag off the dress.
Okay.
She explains the situation. I'm in the dress. So, she goes up to checkout and she pays for it.
Oh, jeez.
And I walk out in the dress after she pays. But I often think of that little adventure. And it makes me smile and it makes me giggle because that could have been such a solemn ride to the beach, and we just had a great time with each other.
So it was your family vacation. Then when do you find, when you come home, when do you find the Invida, the Invida hospital?
So I told you
that was next. Am I right?
Yes,
okay.
That was. So I told you all summer long I was looking at different approaches. And I was looking for something a little more like immunotherapy, a little more holistic. And I had been looking at all different places. I was looking at some in the United States. I was looking at some in Mexico, like different facilities.
You go.
Oh, certainly. Different facilities that do that holistic and conventional medicine together. And when we were at the beach, Jonathan said, have you decided yet where you want to go? Because he knew I was looking at 3 different places that really I felt were the perfect fit for me. And I said, no. And he's like, okay, why are you having trouble with this? And I kept saying, well, the prices, they don't accept insurance. And it's not that they don't want to accept the insurance. It's that the approach that they're taking and the infusions that they're doing, a lot of them are trademarked by the facilities themselves. And when they get coded into the healthcare system, they're being looked at as alternative medicine, and insurance won't pay for them.
Okay.
So here's facilities that are saving lives, and healthcare will not cover it because it's being looked at as alternative. So what was stopping me from picking the place I really, really wanted to go, which was Invida, was the cost.
Okay. So just for context, at the school district, you have insurance.
I do.
And I know my wife's a teacher.
Yes.
It's good insurance.
It is very good insurance.
I would say very good. I'm like looking to have procedures done now, which is weird.
Yeah.
So what if you can just briefly and non-political, just like, what is your take on a facility in Invida that is, and we're going to get into your details of how it went there the first time there, is actually literally you couldn't walk there. You couldn't walk into that facility.
I could not walk into that facility. I arrived at the airport and my mom pushed me in a wheelchair.
Okay.
From the time that we went into the airport to we got to the airplane, I took a wheelchair off the airplane in Arizona And I was in a wheelchair when I arrived at Invida. I could walk, but it was not very far at all. And it was very, very, very slow.
So let's put this into perspective. You could not walk. It was very difficult for you to go. And then treatment after treatment there, you're able to walk. You're getting better. But the insurance company is denying that to the point where you're looking at the sum of, and I saw some of the figures here, at $180,000 at first. And that includes nothing else. That is procedures. That's procedures, blood work. The list goes on and on. How did you, when you first made this decision, how did you think? Because obviously no one's independently wealthy here that I know of.
Yeah.
How did you think you were going to be able to? That number must seem like 180 million to you at that point.
It did. I mean, I think about $50, $100. That is a lot of money to me. So here we are at the beach. My husband, I'm 23 pounds lighter. I had a huge decline all through the summer, then that stay in the hospital. And when we were looking at the beginning of the summer at doing like alternative treatment somewhere, we were thinking, okay, we're going to pick a place and not start till after Christmas. We'll have all this time to try to raise money and do what we can, remortgage our house, whatever we're going to have to do to get you there. So now here we are at the beach, and Jonathan's like, Kim, I don't want to say this. I hate saying this out loud, but you've got to pick a place now. Why we're here at the beach, you are not. He's like, you're not going to make it to Christmas. And if you make it to Christmas, he's like, it's going to be on sheer will to be there for the kids because of the time of year it is. And he's like, you can't sustain this. So while we're at the beach, he said, where do you really want to go? And I said, from day one, it's been Invida. And he's like, well, what's stopping you? And I said, money. He's like, that's the last thing in the world that I want you to worry about or think about. This is your life. Your life is more important than money or the price tag on something. We will figure out a way. Let's make the phone call. So we made the phone call to Invida, which felt like a huge weight off my shoulders once again, because I've been going around in my head with like 2 other places that I was going to settle for just because they were a better price. So we call Invida, and it's me and Jonathan and his sister, all in a room. And I have the person that we're going to speak with, like this patient advocate that helps you coordinate everything, gives you the information on the phone, on speakerphone. And we're all 3 like taking notes and asking questions and all of that. And I'm thinking I'm going to hang up and we're going to try and do this in like a month or 2. And I'm still thinking that direction. And Jonathan's like, says to the gentleman on the phone, what is your earliest opening? What is the earliest we can get her in and get her there? And he says, August 28th. And my husband's like, we'll take it. Well, that was 2 weeks away. I'm like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this in 2 weeks?
And what was your initial payment?
So initially we had to be able to come up with $10,000 a week. So
for how many weeks?
They weren't positive. So you have to know with Invida, they are treating you as a whole. They're not strictly conventional medicine. They are not just treating your symptoms with procedures and medication.
Okay.
So they're a unipathic medical facility.
Right.
So they're treating the root cause. They're looking for the root cause. So once again, it comes down to we're not all the same. So they're going to look at everything, your genetic makeup, your type of cancer. They're going to do all the different tests on you to figure out your blueprint. Your blueprint is going to look different than my blueprint. And then you're going to move forward on your path.
Even with the same
treatment.
cancer?
Even with the same cancer.
Okay.
Yes, even with the same cancer. So I go down August 28th, and I knew I was going to be there between 12 to 14 weeks. And I ended up being there 14 weeks altogether. But there are so many things that are offered. So it's, for me, was 5 days a week of infusions.
What is the infusions?
So obviously doing that for 14 weeks, you're not going to get an infusion like directly, through a vein in your arm. They put a permacath in, and permacath has 2 different little pigtails that hang down, and one is to infuse, and the other you can also get blood draws from. So the infusions for me, and like I said, they're different for everyone. For me particular, because of my genetic makeup and my cancer like biomarkers and all of that, I was doing something called GTF, which is their form of chemotherapy. I was doing that once a week, and then every other week I would do it twice. And it's like a genetically targeted, fractionated chemotherapy. So when I was getting chemotherapy back in 2016, it was 100% chemo. And then you're hoping and praying that it goes where it needs to go and does what it needs to do. Mm-hmm. At Invida, it's so amazing to me. It's, as I just mentioned, it's fractionated. So instead of being 100%, it's only 10%. Then the rest of what that infusion is are like nutrient bags and things that are going to help and aid your body with like inflammation and helping that chemotherapy to attack the cancer. Mm-hmm. And they have an amazing way of administering all of that. So the days that I would go for chemo, I would go every Friday, and then every other week I went Wednesday and Friday. They actually have you fast in the morning for like 3 hours before your procedure starts. And then you go for that infusion. You're in an infusion room in a nice padded reclining chair. And after they would administer the fractionated chemo, like the 10%, they then would drop your sugar down. And while your sugar is dropping, that chemotherapy they gave you is going to attack and fight the cancer. So it's very, very precise. You're not just hoping it does it. It's precise. It's actually going to target it. And once they drop your sugar, then they help you bring your sugar back up. That was only one infusion that I received. I also received something called Heliobosch. And Heliobosch was one of my favorites. It would make me feel really good and really energized. Heliobosch is basically oxygenating your blood, putting more oxygen in the blood. And that would always help me feel more energized. And they feel like when your blood is oxygenated, there's more oxygen in the blood, you can fight against, once again, the cancer cells, can kind of smother them out. So that was every Thursday for me. And then other days of the week, I would receive something called EGCG, which was antioxidants infused. And that would help also with inflammation. And you'd receive nutrient bags of like vitamin B6, B12, sometimes vitamin C. So they're really taking different modalities and putting them or mixing them together. And what I mean by that is it's not conventional medicine. They're using holistic medicine. They have trademarked their infusions. So they've studied it to no end. So the founder of Invida is Dr. Dino Prado. And he has come up with a lot of this on his own, just from doing the research and studying how different infusions and different ways that conventional medicine has done it in the past. And it'll take what works and what doesn't work, and you really stick with what works. And he's come up with some of these infusions just to be more precise.
So when you get there initially, you went with your mom.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was your mom handling this? Because your mom went through this.
My mom did go through this.
Not on this level. Let's not to downplay hers.
Yes.
But on this level, this is a whole different ballgame. But then again, there's a lot of different tools you have now. What was your mom's reaction? And I'd be curious to see, because if I couldn't, God forbid, my son had something, or my two children had something like that, any one of my sons had it would be hard for me to see that if I went through it. But then all of a sudden, man, I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. So my mom is one of the strongest people I know. And she's always been that way. She was diagnosed, as I had mentioned, with cancer. And she was stage 3, just like I was in 2016. She was stage 3. And she went through the chemo and the radiation. And, it was so long ago. So much has changed since then. You start to think back to that time when she had it, and it was almost like a difference between like the caveman days and like all the knowledge and the technology we have now. But she's one of the strongest people I know. She's such a fighter, and she handled her cancer so well and so gallantly and so gracefully. And it was really hard to tell her the first time in 2016 that I had cancer, but it was even harder to tell her this diagnosis in April 2024. And I start to think, how would I feel, like you just said, as a mom, if one of my children were coming to me to tell me the same thing. My mom, she cried. She definitely cried and took a deep breath and pulled herself back together real quickly and said, what? She started to research things on her own too, because as a mom, you want to help. Mm-hmm. As a friend, you want to help, but definitely as a mom, you want to help. Like, what is best? I want my child to have the best. I think it really broke her heart and tore her apart, but she went right into fight mode, warrior fight mode. Yeah. Of helping and researching and what can I do and how can we raise money and how can we help you? And Jonathan and his brothers had already decided maybe a GoFundMe page was one of the best routes to go, or at least to try. My mom right away is, what can we do? What fundraisers can we have? Mm-hmm. How can I, help and advocate for my daughter?
Let's talk about Berwick.
Okay.
After the diagnosis comes, you guys decide to set up a GoFundMe.
Yes.
And ultimately, you decide to do all types of fundraisers and what have you. The light bulbs, as you're there in Arizona. What can you tell me? Again, small town Berwick is a small town. It's really not big. What has Berwick done that affected you the most? And how would you like to thank them, just in general? Because it's hard to, you want to sit there and thank everybody.
Definitely.
But like, what has it done for you, and how has it improved you, not only emotionally, but just to help you on your journey? So, because it is ungodly expensive. It
definitely is. And let me just start off by saying I was so sick at that point in time. Mm-hmm. In August, when we found out that I was going to be headed out to Arizona into Invida, my family really took the reins on everything. And fundraisers and the way that we were going to raise the money, the GoFundMe page, all of that, none of it was my idea. So all these brilliant, amazing ideas like the GoFundMe, the light bulbs, the basket bingos, the spaghetti dinners, everything that has occurred have not been my brainchild. It has been Berwick. Berwick has rallied. I couldn't even, if someone told me that Berwick was going to rally like this, I would have been like, you're crazy.
Right.
I can't even. I've used this statement so many times. The love and the support that have come from Berwick is so overwhelming in a good way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Thank you does not seem like enough. I've used the term my army of angels. That's how I think of this community, as my army of angels. They've gone above and beyond. Like, this town gets a bad rap for so many things, which does not make sense to me, because everyone here, the moment you need somebody, they're there. Like, in a second, they're calling you, they're at your doorstep. There's been meals coming into our home like twice a week since August to help my family. You know, the amount of even people that only were able to donate $5 or $1. Like, my daughter has friends that work, that have jobs, and they were donating what they could, $1, $5, $10. That is amazing. That is beautiful. I don't think I could have done this journey without all the support of Berwick. I really don't. Like, love is one of the most important aspects, I think. I think that's why we're all here. I think we're all here to, I apologize.
No, you're good.
I think we're all here to love each other, to learn how to love, to show love, to give love. I think that's the point of everything. And I've received so much love that I will continue to pay it forward for the rest of my life. Not because I feel I have to, because I want to. This town has inspired me. This town makes me want to be better, to do better, to fight harder. It's just, there are no words. I am never at a loss for words. I'm sure you can tell in this interview that I talk a lot. I love people. This question has me, it's hard to answer. I can't take what's in here and put it into words. It's miraculous. It's amazing. I'm forever changed. I have faith in humanity, in this town, in people in general. I know there's so much going on in the world, but this proves the human spirit is alive and well. It really does.
Well, it's also, though, and you don't look at it this way. I want you to look at it this way. Don't think that it goes unnoticed. It's a testament as to who you are. Hold on 1 second.
Hi, Teddy. It's Kim. How are you? It's so nice to hear your voice. Well, thank you.
That I've been grateful to be able to know you, George, and to be able to talk to you. And because really, I'm in the business, obviously, well, not anymore. I don't train fighters the way. I was in the business for 50 years of my life in training fighters and hoping to make champions. If I had a stable fighters like you, I would be living in a compound, not a house. The wealth that I would have accumulated through those champions. Because I always say that the greatest trait that a fighter can have, it's not the hand speed, it's not the power, it's not the footwork, it's character. It's the greatest strength you can have to be a champion in anything, much less boxing. But my field happens to be boxing. So the greatest trait you can have is character.
Well, thank you.
Enough character to just cover many world champions. and you have as much character as any world champion I'm blessed to work with. And I have been blessed to work with a few fighters that I know. And I appreciate being able to talk to you. And I just have one thing. If I never asked for nothing, but I am going to ask for one thing if it's not too much.
Never.
Go out there and win. Just go out there and win.
I will.
Anytime you need me, all you have to do is call. George will give you my number.
Thank you.
Just call anything you need, anytime you need me. All you do is pick up. The only way I get mad at you is if I ever find out that there was something I could have said to you, something I could have done for you, and you did not pick up the phone. Then I'll get mad.
Oh, thank you. I love you too. I appreciate all your support. This has been amazing and wonderful.
You have God. You have all of these things. You have love. You have all of these things. And your opponent in the other corner, that thing called cancer, none of these things. It has hatred. It has hatred for life. It has nothing of any kind of value in the world that we know. It has no love. It has no zest for life. It has nothing but actually a lust for death. It has no care about aspirations. It has no care about future. It has no care about making people or making the world better. It's the antithesis of you and somebody like you. So here's my thing. Here's my corner speech. And everything I just said, there's no argument. I said things that are pretty simple, pretty easy to register to any human being. They're responsible things, they're honest things, they're truthful things. So, but I would say at the end of having said all of that is in the corner talking to my fighter, talking to you. After we've just laid that out, that's your opponent. How on earth can that opponent with no love, with nobody in its corner, with no zest for life, how can that opponent beat you? How? It has no chance. It has no chance to beat somebody looking across from it with the qualities and traits that I just listed. It has no chance. It's a mismatch.
I'm ready. Yep, I will kick it to the curb. Thank you doesn't sound or seem like enough, but from the bottom of my heart, I already said it, but I feel like I want to say it again. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time as well. I know how busy you are.